Kirino Ernesto Polino Caspio, a notorious Dominican Republic narco trafficker. Let's start from the beginning. In the rugged countryside of the Dominican Republic, far from the luxury resorts and the white sanded beaches the world often associates with the touristic Dominican Republic, a boy named Quirino Ernesto Polino Caspio was born into a life shaped by scarcity. Opportunity was limited and survival often depended on hard work, persistence and the ability to adapt. As a young man, Quirino followed a path that seemed ordinary. He worked in agriculture, tending land and learning the rhythms of rural life. Later, he moved into transportation, hauling goods across regions, building a reputation as someone dependable and disciplined. People knew him as a man who could get things done. But in a region where economic opportunity was uneven, legitimate work often came with a ceiling, and beyond that ceiling lay another world, one that promised faster money, influence and power. By the 1990s, the Caribbean had become a strategic corridor in the trade. In Colombia was increasingly routed through island nations, including the Dominican Republic, on its way to lucrative markets like the United States. Smugglers needed people who understood the terrain, the roads and the risks. Quirino fit that profile perfectly. At first, his involvement was small. He leveraged his transportation background to move illicit cargo discreetly, using the same skills he had once applied to legitimate work. But the business was different. Higher stakes, higher rewards and far greater danger. What began as a side venture soon grew into something much larger. Quirino built connections with international suppliers and local collaborators. He learned how to navigate checkpoints, coordinate deliveries and avoid detection. Over time, he transformed from a transporter into a key operator within a growing network. Unlike the stereotypical image, Quirino didn't initially seek attention. His approach was practical and calculated. He focused on logistics, routes, timing and trust. In the trade, reliability can be more valuable than aggression, and Quirino understood that. As his operations expanded, so did his wealth. Money began to flow in amounts he had never imagined. With it came a new lifestyle, luxury vehicles, high-end properties and a visible presence that contrasted sharply with his humble beginnings. The transformation was striking, but success in that world rarely stays hidden. Rumours began to circulate. His name surfaced in conversations not just among traffickers but within political and law enforcement circles. Allegations emerged suggesting connections between his activities and individuals in positions of power. Whether whispered or reported, these claims added a layer of controversy that made his story even more compelling and even more dangerous. Still, for a time, the operation continued. Shipments moved, networks held, profits grew. Then in 2004, everything changed. Authorities launched a major operation targeting Quirino's network. The details had been building for months, possibly years. Investigations, surveillance, intelligence sharing. When the moment came, it was decisive. Quirino was gone. He was arrested. For a man who had built his life on movement and control, the sudden loss of freedom marked a dramatic turning point. Soon after, he was extradited to the United States, where he faced serious charges related to drug trafficking. The evidence against him was substantial. Faced with the weight of those charges and the reality of a long prison sentence, Quirino made a critical decision. He chose to cooperate. This choice would reshape not only his own future, but also the public conversation back in the Dominican Republic. As part of his cooperation, Quirino provided information about his operations and the broader network in which he had operated. More explosively, he had made allegations about links between trafficking and political figures. These claims sent shockwaves through the country. For many, it confirmed the long-held suspicions about corruption and the hidden connections between crime and power. For others, it raised difficult questions about accountability and trust in public institutions. Quirino, once a largely hidden figure, became a central name in the national controversy. In the courtroom, his role shifted from an accused trafficker to a cooperating witness. His testimony became a tool for prosecutors, offering insight into how trafficking networks functioned and how deeply they might reach. Eventually, he served his sentence under the US justice system. Compared to what he initially faced, his cooperation likely reduced his time behind bars, but the cost of that cooperation was complex, legal, personal and reputational. When he was released, he was no longer the powerful operator he had once been. The world had moved through, had changed, networks evolve, alliances shift, and the spotlight he once avoided had already exposed his story to the public. In many ways, his influence belonged to the past. Today, Quirino Ernesto Polino Castillo's life is often viewed as a cautionary tale. It is a story of a man who rose from modest beginnings to immense wealth and influence only to see it unravel. It reflects the broader reality of the trade, how it draws individuals in with opportunity, rewards them quickly, and then almost inevitably demands a price. His journey also highlights the role of geography and circumstance. The Dominican Republic's position in the Caribbean made it a key point in global trafficking routes, and individuals like Kirino became part of a system much larger than themselves. But at its core, his story is deeply human. It's about choices, how small decisions can lead to larger consequences. It's about ambition, risk, and the thin line between success and downfall. And it's about how quickly a life can change when that line is crossed. From the fields of the Dominican countryside to the international courtrooms, Quirino's path was anything but ordinary, and in the end it serves as a stark reminder: the higher the rise, the harder the fall. Thank you for listening, guys. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and we'll catch up again next time. Thank you.